Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? My name is Kent, the channel is EOS San Diego, and what I'd like to talk about a little bit tonight is first of all about the markets. Obviously, Bitcoin staying above 12,000 and holding that position, hopefully we hold that over 12,000 position, I believe is a good indicator for a much higher market. And of course, you see the stock market at all-time highs, you see gold at all-time highs, and we still have to go a little bit further, up around 20,000 for Bitcoin to go to its all-time high. And I think it will happen very soon. Also, we're seeing, a massive stimulus bill that's probably going to be introduced here very soon. You got an election coming up, which means that the politicians want to make people happy. The way to make people happy is to make sure that, you mitigate the circumstances that we're all suffering with, which is a really change of the way the economy works with COVID. So many things are changing right now that they need to add money to the system in order for things, for people not to really suffer, well, as a lot of people are suffering and have suffered. I mean, so much has changed. I see where they're not going to play college football, some college football this fall. I grew up, of course I grew up in the state of Nebraska, which is a huge football state. I don't know how many people watch my channel from Nebraska, but that's where I grew up. And for there not to be football in Nebraska, I think it's going to be a big trauma, knowing that I grew up there and I know how important it is to the people in Nebraska. The other thing too is I think a lot of universities, as people go more online, are probably going to transition. So there's going to be a big shift in the way people work in the future, and things moving more online. So there's going to be a lot of money added to the system, which I think is going to drive the price of everything much higher, including Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. EOS is getting close to $4. And of course, if you follow us on the challenge app, I gave away almost 200 EOS the other day. And I gave one EOS to every participant that I had issued a challenge to, a task challenge. So if you got one of the EOS that I gave away, almost 200 EOS the other day, you have a nice little appreciation. And like I said, I think I gave away almost 180, maybe over 180 EOS. So I hope, that EOS that I was able to reward people for the challenge, the task that I had asked people to perform, which is really probably only took no more than 20 or 30 seconds to do, and you got an EOS for it. I hope that EOS goes up much higher. Like I say, it's getting close to $4. I hope it goes to $100. At that point, we can all get together in San Diego. Oh, and my daughter did a video at the Del Coronado where we're having the EOS party, and I'll put the link to the video below if you want to see, because they stayed in the haunted room at the Del Coronado. It actually turned out really well, so I'll put the link below if you want to watch that. That's where the party's going to be. It's going to be in that hotel. And of course, I've made a couple videos since then at the Del Coronado where we're going to have the $100 party. So just a kind of a little bit of a reminder, a little bit of perspective on where the party's going to be when we have that $100 party. So that's going to be coming up here too, hopefully very soon. And I'm not exaggerating. I've talked about this for a few years now, and I get a lot of grief over it. A lot of people give me a hard time about it, but I'm optimistic that it's going to happen. And I know it will happen. And the reason I know it's going to happen is because the dollar, and that's what I'm saying, $100 EOS, is certainly going to be much inflated in the near future. So I believe the $100 is not going to be worth what $100 used to be. So actually $100 for an EOS, for one EOS, is going to be something that won't be anything that anybody's going to say is out of range or too much or incredibly expensive, because the dollars that we carry in our pocket are going to be worth a lot less. And I think that's going to accelerate. That is really going to accelerate with all the things going on. We got an election year. We got politicians that want to make sure people don't feel too much of the pain of this transition that we're going through, of the economy, going online. A lot of people are going to have to redo the way they think business, the way they go to school, the way they buy. Everything's going to be rethought out. Everything's going to be redone. Because of all the precautions that have to be in place. In fact, I was thinking about this tonight. I was actually thinking that, a lot of people are talking about why in the world would you not allow these kids to play, or these young men to play football, especially at the college level when they put so much into it. And I heard somebody was talking about this afternoon. They were talking about, well, first of all, there's a huge liability, legal liability for these universities if somebody does get into trouble, or they have somebody that would have, significant health problems, and they're talking maybe heart damage from something like getting COVID. But even he was talking about how if you're playing on an artificial turf and somebody actually lands on that turf and could have the disease, have COVID, and that would be on the turf, are you going to clean the turf, every so many plays to keep the game going? I mean, will you have to do that? Now, I know about this because my sons were both wrestlers, and I think I've talked about that quite a bit on this channel. In fact, my one son still fights as in jiu-jitsu and fighting. So, and I put a couple of his matches on this. Actually, Chase, the developer of the challenge application. So I've seen before, like in wrestling, they're always concerned, about stuff being on the mat. So, usually every few matches or every time they have, a little bit of time or a little pause in the tournament, they will take the mats and they will go and they will sterilize the mats. They'll take a mop and they'll go up and down the mats and they'll sterilize them to make sure there's no bacteria or no disease on those mats. Well, that's what they're literally talking about on the football field. You'd have to do that every so often. So see how much this is changing our world, how everything has to be rethought and redone, and how you can have to have now the social distancing, and how do you have barriers between people that work together, and so on and so forth. So this is going to drive the cost of everything much higher. And like I say, it's going to cause a lot of inflation and a lot of extra costs just for everybody just to exist in the world. That's going to drive the price of everything much higher. And of course, I think cryptocurrencies are going to be the one thing that will go up the most. And I'm not the one saying that. There's a lot of people that are saying that have a lot more understanding of the economy and a lot more understanding of business than me. And of course, everybody knows it's been all over the YouTube. It's been all over channels about cryptocurrency. Is Paul Tudor Jones, and this is the fastest horse in the race, which is Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. So if you want to climb on that fast horse, you want to get to the finish line the quickest, just buy the cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoins, the EOSs, the Ethereums, and all this other stuff. So like I say, I think the market's headed that direction. It's going much higher. I see as the election comes closer and closer, I see that the cryptocurrencies, I think, will do much better. As everything, I think the stock market will probably continue to go higher. And I think gold will go much higher too. But I just think the cryptos are much more suited for what's going to happen in the near future, and especially as business goes online, it has to become easier to transact. And of course, we all know that if you want to send money, it's much quicker to send money over the internet with a cryptocurrency than it is any other way. In fact, I was doing that today. I was sending some money. In fact, I do it every day. Send money to different places, and I use crypto. And it's always pretty quick. It's always really fast. So, a lot of changes taking place, a lot of things going on. I see the market going higher, which makes everything much better. The challenge application is really doing well. There's a lot of metrics right now to how to, and I talk about the different websites you can go to see how the applications are working and running. The true numbers of how well the application are doing aren't really being shown on some of the websites. There's one site that's, I think right now, about the best as far as measuring how well the applications are doing. I'll put a link to it below. But like I've talked before about DAP Radar, talked about some of these others. One of the things going on is that every transaction that we do isn't on the blockchain. Like the challenges don't end up showing up on the blockchain. So some of the stuff doesn't show up on the blockchain, which means that we do a lot more business than people think if they're just looking at some of these sites and saying, well, they had so many transactions, or they had so many users, or had so many of this or that. We have a lot more than what those sites are showing. In fact, like I said, I had a challenge the other day where I issued a challenge. If you don't know what the challenge is, you can go to the challenge app and look at it. It was a simple task, and I had over 200 people participate. Actually 210, 212 people make a comment, and over 200 people participated, and each one of those people, almost 200 people, each one of these people got a free EOS for doing the task, which is a great marketing. I mean, if you go and look at the task that I had him perform, wow, you know, even though I gave away almost $1,000 worth of EOS, it was something that was beneficial to us, and what I had set the challenge for, that I was gladly gave it away. In fact, I had set the maximum winners at 100, and people just kept performing the task. So I ended up being up around 180, and I just kept giving out EOS. I think I finally did cut it off at about 180, but then I gave out even a few more even after that. So yeah, I was giving away a lot of EOS just for a simple task, but it was something that was, in my mind, certainly worth it. And you know, I would do it all over again. We'll continue to do this in the future. So if you're looking for some free crypto, this is a great place to go pick it up. We're literally doing very simple tasks. Like I said, a task that was probably could have been completed in less than 30 seconds, and you get a free EOS. And you know, we've got a number of people doing these, and of course we're doing them ourselves. So this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen in the future. New ways of being able to market, new ways of being able to get give people incentives to do things. That's what we do. That's what the challenge application is all about. And of course, this is something I think that you're going to see a lot more in the future. And hopefully, you know, like our idea is something that will start to be more used by people, and also something that other people will try to build too. I mean, we certainly encourage everybody else to try to do what we're doing, because working online, building online, developing online, especially the blockchain, is the future. I grew up in an area where I grew up as a young kid on a farm in Nebraska, and of course every day we went out and we physically worked. We had to plow the fields, we had to irrigate the fields, we had to harvest the fields. Everything we did was outside. You know, nothing indoors. Everything was outside. Today, people are moving in online. It's the physical world of being able to do something outside, and your labor being able to support you by just going out and doing something like working like we did on the farm, you know, plowing, harvesting, irrigating, all that kind of stuff. I think those are kind of legacy things. They're going to probably, there's a lot of those jobs will probably not be able to, you won't be able to make as much money as you used to doing that kind of stuff. And a lot of people have to start getting more creative about doing stuff on the internet. More people have to start getting more creative about doing stuff with ideas like the blockchain and developing things like blockchain. So we certainly encourage more people to do that, because that's the direction this economy is taking. And if you don't think so, just think of all the difficulties now businesses have because of the implications involved with not spreading a virus back and forth among people. So anyway, I will talk a little bit more about some other stuff I was going to talk about tonight, but I don't want the video to get too long, because the longer the video goes, I think that people get a little bit less interested in it. So I try to keep the videos down around 10-15 minutes. Every now and then I do go a little bit longer, but that's when I'm on my computer, so I try to keep it a little bit shorter when I'm on the streets like I am tonight. And if you hear the power washer in the background, they're just power washing. It's late at night. I think it's about, it's almost about almost 2 a.m. So on the West Coast. So anyway, we'll pick it up with some other information, either tomorrow or the day after. I was shooting videos every night for a while. I might go back to that since the market's starting to pick up a little bit, and especially the challenge application. I'll put a couple links below. Of course, the video, Del Coronado with my daughter's video, and then also the links that will help you follow the activity for the apps or the dApps that are running on the blockchain. I think a better site than some of the others that I've mentioned in the past. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.